Hello ladies and gentlemen, Willie here. So with the Shadowlands pre-patch soon, if not already out by the time that this video is, I mean we have about 1 month till launch, so it better be soon, I wanted to have another chat about Shadowlands and the part of it that interests me, which unsurprisingly are also the subject of massive community debate. And that is of course all of the temporary power systems and Blizzard's stance that they are, at the moment, standing firm on. That being not only that they will be a meaningful choice and a good one, also that they will be able to balance them to a reasonably close level. So here's at a glance what Blizzard are going to be trying to balance in Shadowlands. Legendaries that take up several different item slots, Covenant abilities, there are 4 different Covenants, each one has a defense or utility type ability, and then an offensive one. Soulbind, which inside of each of the 4 Covenants, there are 3 characters who have their own little talent trees, I guess we can call them, which give different benefits. These are not class or spec specific and have to be balanced to fit every type of content in the game. Within the soulbinds there are conduits which are offensive, defensive or utility based, and they are arranged differently throughout the soulbound characters. Legendaries can be swapped as you wish, they're just like item affixes on your gear that you can earn from deterministic means, but you can only equip one at once, at least at the moment. Soulbinds can be swapped the same as talents, in rest areas or with a tome. Conduits can be swapped once per week at your Covenant Sanctum, and Covenants themselves can be swapped with a lot of effort, completing 2 weekly quests and a bunch of other stuff that basically boil down to go and do loads of stuff in the Covenant area that you wish to swap to. This won't be the case when you initially join one though. So suffice to say, it's pretty important to make the right choice. And who knows what the right choice is when there are so many layers to the content within Covenants? No one does, not now, and potentially not for a very, very long time to come. Though whatever your choice is, you more or less have to stick with it unless you're willing to go through that lengthy grind to swap to another one if and when it becomes clearly a better choice for you in the long run. Your Covenant must also fit into your preferred content as well as playstyle. Mythic Plus, open world stuff, raiding, PvP, and then you have to choose whether you're a DPS, more of a healer, or a tank. This, on top of actually wanting to perform at a high level in more than one area of content, is gate-kept pretty hard by this system. Tank in raids and damage in PvP? Which do you like more? DPS and raids heal Mythic Plus? Choose one. Even inside one area of content, this isn't ideal either due to Covenant and Conduit balancing. Between early bosses that may be more single target focused, but the later ones require heavy cleave potentially. Top end guilds are going to need multiple of the same class, on top of having a number of different classes due to the time constraints involved in changing Covenants. It'll be like back at the start of Legion when they had to level multiple different characters to fish for Abyss legendaries, but for the whole expansion. There was actually a big development update on Shadowlands about 2 weeks ago now, pretty much wanting to reaffirm Blizzard's decisions and how they picture the choices you make rolling out. This has been pretty well gone over now, and I know I'm a bit late to the party, but I want to have a look at it for this conversation, particularly covering the whole pull a ripcord drama, which stems from Ian's mention that there was the possibility to undo these temporary power systems if needs be throughout the expansion, which they've kind of done a 180 on now, saying granting access to only one of these without the others would lead to an incomplete or confusing result. In short, pulling on that thread, or cord, as it were, would unravel the entire fabric of the system. Blizzard want to try something new and have what are essentially subclasses within World of Warcraft, as in our goal was for the answer to what do you want to play. In Shadowlands, you won't just be a paladin, but you'll be a Kyrian paladin or a Venthea paladin. Here's my issues with this system, especially when it is designed in a way that's very rigid and punishes making the quote-unquote wrong choice. Just to mention as well, this is different from talents because they are specific and bound to just your class. So when you first made that bad decision and loaded up World of Warcraft, you made 3 big decisions on that day. Those were faction, class, race. Everybody has to do this. Those 3 things are core to World of Warcraft as an RPG. WoW does not have subclasses where everybody can learn various different jobs or swap between them at will. Your class is always your class, and it's one of those most important choices you make during the entire game. Me deciding to play as a warlock is not at the opportunity cost of picking a mage. Me choosing alliance is not at the opportunity cost of picking horde. Me picking Necrolord Warlock is at the opportunity cost of siding with the Night Fae. Me being Venthea is a choice I have to make against Kyrian, because these are choices that can be changed within the game. Classes get nerfed and buffed, faction and balance has only gotten worse as time goes on and they're never going to be perfect, But at least it is a lasting, meaningful choice, and it is also one of the first ones you can make and you have to stick with, or if you end up not liking it, you can fully re-roll and start all over again. And that's what players are probably going to have to do to get the most benefit out of Covenants. And whilst Covenants impose a lesser restriction in terms of reroll, but they also affect your power directly. Imagine this while leveling. You're a mage, for example. At level 10 you pick your specialization, let's say fire, and play it to level 25. Then from 25 to 40 you go play frost instead. Finally, at 40 to 55, you play Arcane. Those 5 final levels to 60, you swap around your talents, you try different specs out, and then you get to level 60 and the game says, okay, which talent tree do you want to play? By the way, you can only swap it once for 2 weeks. That's Covenants. You will be able to make the wrong choice. Does that make it an important choice? Yes, it does. Does that make it an interesting choice? No, not necessarily. For the more casual player base, it's a few more cosmetic stuff and some storylines to follow along. For people who play a lot of alts or roleplay, this thing sounds like a dream. Some of the Covenants just speak to certain class fantasy, Druids to Night Fae, Death Knights to Necrolord, and all of the different campaigns to play through. For the more performance-oriented players, whom I think cover a far larger portion of the player base than you would think, it's a disaster waiting to happen. Yet Blizzard stands firm on their decision, not only that the choice is important and therefore good, but that they will be able to balance all of these various systems. And it's not that I don't think Blizzard could balance this, I don't think anybody would be able to. It's pretty much impossible. Not only does your Covenant grant varying levels of power to different content, you have to concern yourself with balancing these new abilities in tandem with soulbinds, conduits, legendaries, and your talents. Raid bots are about to cash in on this expansion, let me tell you. It is so complicated. Blizzard also doesn't have the best track record with balance, especially over the last expansion, such as Thunderous Blast or a bunch of passive procs outdoing anything your class could do. How about the corruption balancing 1 week before 8.3, or the way it ended up being? I mean, Blizzard thought they could balance corruptions, you know, and they were so totally out of whack power level wise, you just have to assume at this point that they knew it was going to be this bad. Remember back at the start of Legion, Emerald Nightmare Mythic was defeated within the same day it was released because Blizzard underestimated the power level players could get through grinding Mythic plus Titan Forges and their power of their artifact and legendary combos. Castle Nathria has a pretty good chance of us seeing exactly the same again. Either that or it's going to be incredibly overtuned. In fact, I'm very interested to see the world first race for the first tier of the Shadowlands. Even with Mythic plus loot being below raids and no Titan Forges, top guilds will just do split raids through Heroic, and they will always do whatever's necessary, required to get the most gear and have the best opportunity to win. And then you've got all the math guys who will math out the best setup for your Covenants, your soulbinds, which legendary to go for, and everything will either be tuned to that setup or just too easy. Because even if all of these choices were a small percentage between player to player, that's casually ignoring that this is magnified over 20 players in Mythic raids. The healers and tanks have to pick certain Covenants for their preferred content as well, whereas they might quite literally be useless elsewhere as they're designed to work in groups, not for solo content. To top it all off and to tie it into the lore a little bit, now I'm not exactly a big lore guy, but from all the cinematics so far we understand the Shadowlands is in peril, it's all going downhill, and we're of course the big heroes, we're coming in to sort things out. So why on earth when I want to change a Covenant do the different Shadowlands factions treat me like I'm a traitor and the worst human being ever to exist, and I need to regain their trust when I come back to them, when they all seem to have a pretty common problem? Do these guys just not get out of something? It seems kind of strange from a look-in perspective. Maybe I'm missing something here. Though I did see a post on Reddit the other day that said something like 9.2, Unification of the Shadowlands, when all of the Covenants finally band together versus insert big enemy. And it reads like something done from Blizzard, which is kind of disturbing. I was also pretty disappointed to learn that there was no new class. The format has always been odd-numbered expansion, new race, even-numbered expansion, new class. The Tinker would have been amazing, but oh well, we can still hope, I guess. At least Blizzard have caught up a bit more in the cosmetics department and given us a lot more customizations, which they were years and years behind every other MMO in that department. And I've just done a video fully on this topic because it deserves it, but just imagine the amount of systems we currently have to boost player power. In TBC and Wrath of the Lich King, it was new talents and abilities, Kata, Mop and Wad, some form of talent revamp and new abilities, with 2 of them having legendaries for everybody. Legion was all of the above, with even more new legendaries, artifacts, and now BFA binned everything from Legion, gave us Azerite essences and then corruptions, and Shadowlands has binned all of those and is giving us soulbinds, covenants, conduits, and legendaries. We're going to Shadowlands launch with more temporary power systems than we ended up BFA with. If that doesn't sound a little bit concerning, then it probably will do soon. Imagine if Blizzard try and fit in more temporary power throughout Shadowlands too. Surely not though, right? You remember when Blizzard first announced Shadowlands and they're like, hey, check this out, auras, poisons, curses, and everyone was like, whoa, cool, amazing, will be great to have those back, and now they just seem totally forgotten. It's a bit unfortunate. You know what though, despite all of this, I'm actually still pretty excited to play Shadowlands, mainly because I play a Warlock and they look like they're going to be pretty good. It is bringing back some of the legendary effects that I really liked in the past too, so yeah, that's something. It's probably still going to be quite the fiesta, seeing where we are at the moment. I mean, there's still plenty of cutscenes saying work in progress. The tuning for all of these different temporary systems seems like it's still a good deal off, and pre-patch has to be coming soon with the launch date that they've given. And on top of this, Blizzard's reassurance is, we'll balance it. I think now, after seeing 2 expansions of temporary power and each and every system having to undergo significant changes before we got it working and then stopped using it, Blizzard just need to admit when it's not working fast and have ideas in place to solve them, depending on the degree in which it does go wrong, because I think it's probably going to. Anyways, what do you guys reckon? How's it going to be playing out? I'll be keeping up with Shadowlands for sure. I'll at least give it a good go. Who knows, maybe Blizzard will do the impossible. Hit me up below. I hope you liked the video. I'll see you in the next one very soon. If you like what you see, do give the video a like and subscribe, as there will be plenty more to come. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.